My in-laws moved in the day. I came home from the hospital. What happened next destroyed my marriage and ended with a restraining order. 20 hours of labor, 20 hours of screaming, sweating, crying, feeling like my body was being ripped apart. Now I was finally home with my newborn son, Ethan. I should have been resting, soaking in the quiet, the peace, but the doorbell rang. I was on the couch, half asleep, barely functioning. My husband Kai was in the kitchen making tea. "Can you get that, babe?" he called out. Every step hurt. I was still bleeding, still healing. I shuffled to the door and opened it. Standing on my doorstep, beaming, was my mother-in-law Rocco. Next to her, my father-in-law Hiroshi. Behind them, Kai's younger sister May, with suitcases. Big ones. Reiko squealed and pushed her way in before I could react. "Oh, sweetheart, we're here." "Here for what?" She dropped her bag and smiled like I'd asked the dumbest question. "To help, of course. You just had a baby. You'll need all hands on deck." Hiroshi strolled in like he owned the place, whistling. "Long drive," he muttered, dropping his suitcase in the middle of my living room. "What's for dinner?" May yawned dramatically, dragging her suitcase past me. "Which room am I staying in?" I stood there gripping the door handle so hard my fingers ached. "What is this?" I turned to Kai, who had finally wandered in, sipping his tea like it was just another Tuesday. Reiko laughed and patted my shoulder. "Sweetie, don't be silly. You just gave birth. You can't handle everything alone. We'll be staying here for a while to help you out." I stared at Kai, waiting for him to tell them no, to stand up for me, to say, "Mom, Dad, May, you can't just show up with luggage like you're moving in." But he didn't. He scratched the back of his head and gave me an awkward smile. "They just want to help, babe." "Help, right?" I forced a smile. "Of course, your family. Make yourselves comfortable." Reiko beamed. "See? I knew you'd understand." I turned and walked to the nursery, gently closed the door behind me, picked up Ethan, held him against my chest, and whispered, "It's okay, baby. Mommy's got this." I didn't sleep that night. Reiko barged into the nursery every single time Ethan cried. The first time, just after midnight, Tide barely dozed off when his wails filled the room. I got up, wincing from the pain, and reached for him, only for Reiko to swoop in, snatching him up like I wasn't even there. "You're picking him up too fast," she scolded. "You'll spoil him." I gritted my teeth. "He's a newborn." She ignored me, rocked him dramatically, and whispered some nonsense about babies needing to self-soothe. The second time to AM, I'd just changed his diaper when she strolled in again. "Oh, honey," she sighed, watching me swaddle him. "You're doing it all wrong." She unwrapped him and re-swaddled him like I was some kind of idiot. The third time for AM, I was breastfeeding, half asleep, when she walked in, shook her head, and actually tried to adjust how I was holding my own baby. "Reiko," I said, my voice dangerously low. "Go to bed." She patted my shoulder and smiled. "I'm just trying to help." Help, that word again. By morning, I was dead on my feet. I walked into the living room and found Hiroshi sprawled on my couch in his underwear, watching the news like he lived here. Reiko was making coffee. May sat at my dining table, scrolling her phone. Not one of them acknowledged me. Not one thanked me for letting them crash in my house. Not one asked how I was doing. And that's when it hit me. They weren't here to help. They were here to move in. I grabbed my phone and walked outside. Dialed the only person who would understand Deco, my best friend and my lawyer. She picked up on the first ring. "You sound dead inside." "My in-laws showed up with suitcases," I whispered. "They said they're staying here to help me adjust." Silence. Then, "Oh, hell no." "Yep," she exhaled sharply. "House is in your name, right?" "Yeah." "Lease?" "None." "Perfect," she said. "Check your email in an hour." I went back inside, smiling. That day was a nightmare. Reiko criticized everything I did. May turned the guest room into her personal hangout, blasting music from her laptop. Hiroshi took a nap in my bed. He just waltzed in, climbed under my blankets, and snored for 3 hours. And Kai did nothing. Nothing. By evening, Reiko made a special announcement at dinner. "We've decided," she said, cutting into the steak asterisk. I asterisk cooked because, of course, I still had to make dinner, "that we be staying until Ethan is at least 3 months old. Maybe longer." I nodded, smiled, and said, "Of course, Reiko, your family." She beamed. And the next morning, they woke up to a legal notice. Reiko screamed. It was 7 a.m. ID just put Ethan down after a long night when a blood-curdling shriek came from the living room. I didn't even flinch. I stretched and walked out to find Reiko gripping the eviction notice like it was a death sentence. She whirled on me. "What the hell is this?" I yawned. "A legal notice. You have 48 hours to leave." Hiroshi blinked at the paper, his face turning red. You're evicting us? May rubbed her eyes, still scrolling. Is this even real? Reiko shook the notice at me like that would erase it. You can't do this. We're family. There it was again. That word, I crossed my arms. Reiko, you didn't ask to move in. You invaded my house. You've treated me like a clueless child when I just gave birth. You don't respect my space or me. I want you out. Her face twisted in rage. Kai. She screamed. Say something. Kai, standing in the corner in sweatpants, rubbed his face. I waited. This was his moment. He took a deep breath. Mom, maybe you guys should leave. Reiko's mouth dropped open. Excuse me. He shifted. It's her house, and we just had a baby. She needs space. She needs us. Reiko hissed. She needs rest, Kai muttered. And you keep barging into the nursery? I raised you, Reiko said, voice dripping with venom. And this is how you treat me. Guilt washed over him. Reiko didn't argue. She manipulated. Played the victim until everyone bent over backward. Kai faltered. I spoke before he could. You have 48 hours, I said coldly. Or I call the sheriff. Reiko snapped her mouth shut. For once, she had nothing to say. The manipulation. 6:30 to 8 o'clock. They stormed off. I could hear Reiko and Hiroshi whisper yelling in the guest room while May sulked on the couch. I went to my room and locked the door. 2 hours later, Kai came in looking miserable. Mom's really upset, he mumbled. I said nothing. She feels like you don't appreciate her. He tried, like she's being discarded. I laughed. Not happily. Your mother showed up with luggage, hijacked my house, ignored every boundary, and acted like I was a bad mother. Now she feels discarded. He rubbed his temples. I just don't want things to get ugly. They already are ugly. Maybe we can compromise. Compromise? What asterisk? I snapped. My house. My recovery. My right to raise my own baby without your mother breathing down my neck. She just wants to stop. I cut him off. If you say that word one more time, we glared at each other. Then the yelling started. I don't remember at all. Anger blurred everything. By the end, Kai grabbed a pillow, muttered, I need some air, and left. He didn't come back that night. I woke to May banging on my door. Mom wants to talk to you, she shouted. I ignored her. She's calling a family meeting. Of course she is. I changed and walked into the living room. Reiko sat stiffly on the couch, holding a cup of tea like the Queen of England. Hiroshi crossed his arms, May curled up, phone in hand. Kai lurked by the window. Reiko took a deep breath, then smiled. The fakest smile I'd ever seen. I think we got off on the wrong foot, she said sweetly. I sat, crossing my legs. Do we need to review how you trespassed, insulted my parenting, and refused to leave? Her smile twitched. We thought we were welcome. Did I invite you? Silence. Exactly, I said. So what's this meeting about, Rocco? Sighed theatrically. Kai and I talked. She glanced at him. And we think it would be best if we all work together to find a solution. A solution, I scoffed. The solution is you leave. That's not an option. I blinked. Excuse me, Hiroshi cleared his throat. Legally, yes. You can kick us out, he admitted. But that would cause a lot of problems. I narrowed my eyes. What kind of problems? Reiko set her cup down. Kai would be put in a very difficult position. Family isn't something you can just throw away. Oh, I saw it now. This wasn't about staying. This was a threat, May smirked. Reiko leaned forward. We can make this easy, dear. We stay, we help. You don't have to do this alone. And Kai, she gave him a pointed look, won't have to choose sides. Kai shifted. Mom, this isn't, of course it is. Reiko said smoothly. Marriage is about compromise, isn't it? And that's when I knew she was trying to manipulate him against me. But she'd made a mistake. She thought I was weak. I smiled, slow, sharp, knowing, okay, Reiko, you want to play this game? Let's play. Reiko smiled like she'd already won. I had to bite my tongue not to laugh. She thought she was playing chess. I was about to flip the whole board. I leaned forward, mirroring her pose. All right, Reiko, let's make this interesting. You want to help, right? Her eyes glowed with triumph. Of course, dear. We only want what's best for you and the baby. Perfect. I smiled sweetly. Then let's test that. We'll see just how helpful you really are. Reiko faltered. What? What do you mean? I stood, stretching. Since you're so eager to lighten my load, I made a list. I pulled a notepad from the counter and slapped it onto the table. A list. A to-do list. I beamed laundry, deep cleaning, groceries, meal prep, night feedings, And I have a ton of postpartum care needs that require attention. Since you insist on staying, you can take care of all of it. Raiko's face dropped. Well, oh, and don't forget May, I added. She's been sleeping in. Must be nice. But if she wants to stay rent-free, she can handle all diaper changes and bottle washing. May sat up. What the hell? I turned to Hiroshi. And you? He froze mid-chew. You like lounging on my couch all day, right? Great. You can tackle the yard work and house maintenance. The fence needs repairing. The garage is a mess. The gutters need cleaning. You'll love it. Hiroshi swallowed. Reiko stared, horrified. You expect us to do chores? I feigned confusion, but you said you wanted to help Reiko. What did you think that meant? Sitting around, drinking tea, bossing me while I did all the work. May groaned. This is so unfair. Hiroshi muttered under his breath. Reiko fumed. Kai, bless him, was barely holding back a grin. Well, I asked sweetly. Are you helping or leaving? Reiko's jaw clenched. She looked at the list like it had insulted her. Finally, she grabbed the notepad and stood. Fine, she spat. If this is what it takes to prove we care, then we'll do it. May gaped. Mom, not now, Reiko snapped. She thought she was calling my bluff. She had no idea I was dead serious. It was beautiful. Reiko started strong-folding laundry aggressively while muttering. May changed one diaper, gagged, and nearly threw up. Hiroshi tried to fix the fence, smashed his thumb, and declared he needed a 3-hour break. By lunchtime, Reiko was dripping sweat. May was glued to her phone, and Hiroshi was nowhere to be found. I sat back, sipping tea, enjoying the show. By day 2, Reiko had had enough. I found her in the laundry room, staring at the washing machine, defeated. I don't understand how you do this every day, she breathed. Because I have to, Reiko. That's the difference. You came here thinking you were in charge, treating my home like a vacation, thinking I needed you. But you're already breaking. She swallowed hard. You don't help by taking over and making people feel small. You help by respecting their space, their choices, their boundaries. Something you've never done. She stared at me, unsure for the first time. The betrayal. 13:30 to 15 o'clock, that night. Kai came in, nervous. I was rocking Ethan to sleep. I need to tell you something, he said. I sighed. If this is another mom means well speech, save it. It's not. Something in his tone froze me. Reiko called a lawyer today. My stomach dropped. What? He exhaled. She wants to fight for grandparents' rights. Ice filled my veins. This wasn't just about staying. She was trying to stake a legal claim on my child. Kai had the nerve to look guilty. She said it's just a precaution. He muttered. A precaution? I snapped. Because she invaded my home and undermined me. He flinched. I don't think she actually wants custody. She wants control. I finished. And you knew about this, didn't you? His silence said everything. How long have you known? I asked, eerily calm. He swallowed. A few days. My own husband had known his mother was considering legal action against me, and said nothing. I felt sick. You let me sit across from her, smile at her, thinking I was in control while she plotted against me. He scrubbed his face. She swore she wouldn't actually file. She just wanted options. I laughed, harsh and humorless. You let her, just like always. I didn't think she'd. Of course you didn't. You never think. Kai? I took a shaky breath. But I will. I walked out. Reiko was in the kitchen, sipping tea like she hadn't just threatened my world. May texted. Hiroshi pretended to read a newspaper. They looked up. So Reiko, I said, voice like ice. When were you planning to tell me you hired a lawyer? She blinked. Excuse me, don't play dumb, Kai told me. Grandparents' rights, Reiko set her cup down. Now, dear, don't dear me. You're trying to take my baby. She sighed as if I were being difficult. You're being dramatic. I would never take Ethan away. Then why talk to a lawyer? She folded her hands. Because I was concerned. You've been hostile. And I needed to ensure I'd still see my grandson. Hostile. She nodded primly. You've pushed us away since we arrived. Because you moved into my house uninvited. Reiko waved a dismissive hand. We're family. That's what family does. May scoffed. Hiroshi grunted. I turned to Kai, say something. He opened his mouth, then closed it. That was it. The moment I knew my marriage was over, Kai would never choose me. I inhaled sharply, then smiled. Okay, I said. You want legal involvement. Let's go all in. Reiko frowned. What do you mean? I pulled out my phone. I'm calling my lawyer. I'll be filing a restraining order. Color drained from her face. May gasped. Hiroshi dropped his newspaper. Don't be ridiculous, Reiko snapped. I'm dead serious. You've overstepped for the last time. You're a threat to me and my child. And Kai? I turned to him. You need to decide right now whose side you're on. His mouth opened and closed. He looked at Reiko, then at me. And I knew. I nodded slowly. Understood. I turned, walked to the bedroom, and started packing. I left that night. I packed Ethan, grabbed the essentials, and called Aiko. She said we could stay with her. Kai didn't try to stop me. Reiko ranted about me tearing the family apart. Mei rolled her eyes. Hiroshi said nothing. I ignored all of them. Strapped Ethan into his car seat and drove away without looking back. I filed for divorce a week later, got sole custody and Reiko. She pushed her grandparents' rights case and lost. The judge saw what I'd seen all along. She wasn't a concerned grandmother. She was a control freak who didn't know when to stop. Kai reached out months later, full of regret. I never responded. Some betrayals can't be undone, and some people don't deserve second chances.